anything. Really, they don't. They were great, like I said, 100 years ago, but they're not able to deal with any real problem.
Also, there are different activist groups. People talk about what's wrong in the society, and they point out the shortcomings, but they don't pose an alternative direction. What we're posing, the Venus Project, does do that. It pinpoints where the problems are, and then devises a society that surpasses those problems, such as war, poverty, hunger, crime, and homelessness.
Can you tell me something more about Venus Project? How does it work?
How does it work? Well, the survey committee gives us information, and nobody makes decisions. They arrive at them, meaning if you took samples of the soil all over the world, brought them to Central Agriculture, there they analyze the soil, and by the contents of the soil, they tell us what's best to grow, instead of what's your opinion. Politicians sit around making laws, and they don't even know what makes human behavior, what shapes social systems. They have no idea. And on the radio and television, all you got is Army, Navy people telling you about the war. You have politicians, but you don't have social scientists telling you how to bridge the difference between nations. You don't have social psychologists. You don't have the capability.
Essentially, our social system is old, but our technology is racing forward, and it hasn't kept up with our ability to produce abundance. We can do that all over the world if we organize our technology intelligently. And that's what the Venus Project is about, the intelligent management of the Earth's resources. And we do that through what we call a resource-based economy, where goods and services are made available to everyone without barter, money, taxation, or servitude of any kind. We can surpass all of that. It's not necessary in our technological age.
I understand, but the system is very corrupted, and the system is deeply inside everything.
All over the world.
Yes.
America. America is one of the most corrupt, but all over the world they're basically corrupt.
So how do you break that corruption? How do you stop?
Big banks failed in America, and industry failed in America because they can't keep up with Toyota or Japanese products. So it's failing, but they bailed them out with public funds. They gave the money to all the banks and the people that created the problems in the first place. Shows you how corrupt it is. So I'm saying to you, the public doesn't know anything, and we're going on this tour to inform them of the kind of world that can be built. It could have been built in 1927, where you'd have no war, everybody'd be well off. The money spent on wars and killing machines, submarines, aircraft carriers, could have built hospitals all over the world, wiped out the slums all over the world. You live in an antiquated system with an old language. Your language is so old in the world, it was designed hundreds of years ago. That makes it impossible for people to talk to each other. I'll give you an example. Sometimes a person might say to you, have a nice weekend. Why do they say, have a nice life? Why just a weekend? Because they don't know what they're talking about. And then there's health care, education. If you can't afford to go to college, you don't have a democracy. A democracy is where everybody has equal opportunity to grow.
They talk about freedom in this culture, but you're really as free as your purchasing power. If you don't have money to get education for your child or health care, you're not free. You don't buy the kind of goods or the house that you want to live in. You buy what you can afford to live in. So they give lip service to those ideas, and they get people to go and fight for words like patriotism, democracy, and freedom, which means really nothing in this culture.
You criticize money and monetary system. How would world without money work? Because it's one of the biggest dogmas existing today. So,
without money, if the system breaks down, resources become available, like General Motors doesn't operate. They say we're bankrupt, the banks close, industry closes. because people don't have the purchasing power, so they shut down. That means the government usually takes them over, whatever list remains of the government. But the public, being educated as to what the Venus Project is, they can't advocate it unless they're educated to know what it is. Once they know what it is, we use all industry to elevate all people all over the world to their highest potential. If you don't understand that, the public library, anybody can go there and get books free. Well, if that works, they felt the public library would prevent people from buying books if you made books available. That wasn't true. When they read, they knew more and they bought more books than ever. So they were wrong in that area. Now, if next to the public library you have a camera center, where any citizen can go in and check out a camera, just like the library. Then you have musical instruments. Check out a harp, any kind of instrument you want. And that's available for all things. That's the end of most crime. When people have access to the necessities of life, they don't steal.
You know, today there is no value for money. They don't have gold or anything to back it up. It's a picture on a cheap piece of paper, and it means absolutely nothing. And it's an agreement amongst people as to what it can buy. So we have enough money, and we have enough goods and resources to do whatever we want. It's not money that we need. Money is the interference factor between what you want and what you can get. People think in terms of getting a job to get the money for the things that they want, and it's really not the case in a resource-based economy. We make goods and services available to everyone,
just like
without a
library.
price tag.
How long, in your vision, time would be necessary to make this kind of transition?
It would take,
and
if the public agreed that they wanted that, no, that's me. If they agreed, it would take 10 years to change the surface of the earth to the most beautiful cities of the world.
and who would be the generator, if not politics?
No, not politics. Now, for example, whatever I tell you about one thing can be applied to everything. The Department of Agriculture has its electrical tentacles into the soil. If the water table drops, that pumps water out. You don't need people anymore with a telephone. They were having a drought. That was great 100 years ago. But today, do you remember when people used to operate elevators? They turned the crank and they couldn't quite get to the floor. Well, today you press 20, it stops exactly at 20. We want to move people out of all boring jobs, all repetitious jobs, and free them to go back to school to study whatever the hell you're interested in, not what somebody tells you. And most professions of the old world will be phased out. Lawyers gone, advertising gone, investment banking gone, bankers no longer exist, no military of any kind. Because they are stupid beyond description. The way they solve problems with machine guns. But they tell you they're going there to bring democracy. They're going there because there's oil or resources that they want. Use your hand. No, nobody cares.
Sorry. Just a moment, please.